Brett, you all set?
Good enough. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 11th, 2023 reorganizational meeting of the Hudson Falls Central School District Board of Education. At this time, I'd like to have everybody, please salute the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to the clerk of the board, Kelly Hensel, for the election of officers.
So I'm looking for a motion to elect our president of the board. Would like to nominate somebody?
Did you have a conversation? No, we didn't answer. Son of a biscuit.
So I do know that
Jeff is up.
Mr. Golland did say that if he was nominated, he would accept the nomination, even though he's not able to be here tonight. That
So
is-
move.
Okay.
So, a nomination from Heidi.
For
Any-
Jeff?
Any additional nominations?
Sure. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
A second. So we've got one individual nominated for president. Any additional nominations for a different individual? Seeing none,
Nope. Seeing none.
looking for all those in favor of nominating Jeff Collin as the Board of Education President for the 23-24 school year. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? It passes. Congratulations to Jeff. I'm sure he'll be happy to know that he has that office again when he gets back from Alaska. Moving on. You want to keep going?
Yep.
Good enough. Looking for nominations for the seat of Vice President for the 23-24 school year. Any nominations?
I nominate Amanda Lansman.
So we have a nomination. Do we have a second on that nomination? Mike, thank you. So we have one person nominated. Any other nominations of different individuals for that seat? Seeing none. I'd like to bring that nomination to a vote of the board. All those in favor of Amanda being the vice president for the 23-24 school year? Did I say something wrong?
No. Heidi's
I
phone.
didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
How about no?
So all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining?
Nope.
That passes.
Okay.
Excellent. So congratulations to both of our officers. And I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly for the appointment of any other officers necessary. Anything we have to do with Mary Kay or all that? It's just,
No, it's all just the groups, and we just need motions to carry each individual group forward.
Got
So
it.
it's for myself, Mary Kay as our treasurer, Amy Weaver as our internal auditor, Cynthia Barden as our tax collector.
yeah, and so none of those are changes. Those are all individuals who are currently with the school district in those seats. So looking for a motion to appoint those individuals as listed on the agenda for the 23-24 school year. So it sounded like Amanda?
And
And a
Mike.
second by Mike. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Excellent. Thank you very much. And then we have some other appointments. Going down through, you can see the external auditor, the faculty auditor, the treasurer of the extra classroom accounts, data protection officer, school physician, school attorney, school dental consultant, fixed assets accountant, appeals officer, compliance officer, section 803 hearing officer, and then superintendent hearing officer, going down through. Records access officer, records management officer, asbestos hazard emergency response act officer designee, liaison for homeless children, chemical hygiene officer, committee on special education and committee on preschool special education, designated education official for chapter 181, designation official for HIPAA, letter U, review official and hearing official and verification official for participation in school lunch program, Dignity Act coordinators for building and for the district, school pesticide representative, going down through. So that's all the letters right down through W on there. And out of all those, there is only one that is new, and that would be the new external auditor. Everything else are standing people. And we did have a conversation about that new external auditor in audit committee, and we discussed it previously at a board meeting. So looking for a motion to approve all of those appointments.
Vince?
Yeah, Vince, seconded by Heidi. Any discussion on those? I know that's a mouthful for folks. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay. Need to designate Glens Falls National Bank and Trust Company as our bank. And then if you go to number 6, I did want to have a brief discussion about 6. 6 is date, time, place of board meetings. There had been a few questions about the 7 o'clock time for our board meetings. I just wanted to put it out there for a brief discussion with the board to see if there's any interest in doing something earlier than 7 o'clock for board meetings. I know that some people have different work schedules that make it more convenient to be here at different times. I have been in a couple other districts that do them at 6 or 6:30. Again, this is not my pleasure, it's your pleasure, but I know folks have some younger kids, and when the board membership changes, it's worth talking about. So I'll open it up to the floor to see if people have an appetite for a different time for board meetings, and if not, then we'll keep it the same.
Yep.
I could be here probably 6:30. 6 o'clock would be tight.
Okay.
I could be half an hour earlier, still fairly easily there.
Okay.
I would do 6:36, 7.
Same?
Is that better for people? I mean, I
Can
just,
you make it to 6:30?
I think so, because he works from home now.
Okay.
any other?
Vince is good.
So I would need somebody, when we do this, it would be a motion to amend our board bylaws for the time of the meeting to change from 7 to 6:30. Again, it's totally up to you folks, but if that works better, it would get us out of here a little bit earlier. I will promise I will not try to make the meeting a half hour longer. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just wanted to put it out there. Now's the time of year to talk about that if we want to do something different. So we've got 5 and 6. 7, procedures for calling special meetings. The president or vice president of the board is authorized by resolution to call special meetings. So we want to make sure we pass that tonight. We have to indicate our Post-Star and the Chronicle as our 2 newspapers, and we have to authorize individuals to certify payrolls. That is me and Mr. Palenti to act as a purchasing agent. Elementary and secondary principals to suspend students, although that is included in education law. It is recommended by our attorney that you do have a resolution that from the board that gives that power to them as well. Negotiate CDs and repurchase agreements. Authorize attendance of school district personnel conferences. Sign documents. Sign checks in the absence of the treasurer. Authorize budgetary transfers between reserve funds. Make budgetary transfers of not more than $25,000 to purchase school treasury bonds, to purchase collector of tax bonds, establish a petty cash, to approve the investment policy with no changes. This requires annual approval. Approve the purchasing policy, requires annual approval. Going down through all of those. The only one there that is different is the budget transfer amount going to $25,000 from where it is now, and that went through Audit and Finance Committee as well. That committee was comfortable with that amount being increased. Those come to the board anyways. It just allows me to sign those and get those moving before you guys see them come across for final board approval. Kevin, anything else on that, on the budget transfer piece?
I think you covered it.
Okay. So looking for a motion to approve all of those items as written on the agenda.
We're approving right now the time change as well, or does that need to be done?
That will be separate.
That's a separate.
That we'll do that as a separate, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll do the time change as a separate, because we want to have a separate resolution for that, but all the other items. So it would be all the items through O, exclusive of number 6.
Thanks, Amanda.
Second by Heidi. Any discussion? No? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? And while we're here, need to have a motion to approve adjusting the bylaws and any policy to allow for board meetings for the 23-24 school year to start at 6:30 PM rather than 7 PM. Need a motion? Mike, a second?
Second.
Brian?
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, I have a
Thanks.
question.
Go ahead.
You said for the 23-24 school year.
Right.
So next year, we're going to revisit this again?
That would, I mean, that's totally up
This
to,
question is if you wanted to do it forever or just next year.
I think that's a great question for the board. I'm happy to have that resolution amended to make it longer than that, but
Either way is okay. I just wanted to make sure.
yeah, resolution on the floor would be for 1 year to see how it goes. Good? Any further discussion or questions?
Yeah, so we're going ahead with this without having the board members here to weigh in, or?
That's,
We have to have a quorum.
we have a quorum of board members.
The other thing I would say with regard to the location, because it said location there as well, a lot of times there's last minute changes, and it makes it hard for audience members that are trying to get here. Is there something we could do, to not audience participation, is there something we could do to help them? Because I got the text message that they were here tonight, but if I was an audience member, I would be down there looking for it, because that's what it's on the website.
Right? Good point.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that, I've done
Wandering the halls,
many times.
looking for you.
And
Yeah.
it's frustrating,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and we want people to.
Yes, I wasn't aware that it wasn't changed on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's usually not, usually when I just an audience member, not just an audience member, but as an audience member.
right, because the location indicated on here just says at the high school. It doesn't give a room, but I get, your point is not about this, your point is about,
It was on the website, yes.
yeah. Okay,
So I don't know what we could do about it.
yeah.
Once the library's done, aren't we going to?
That's where
Yeah.
that's where we plan to be, back
Yep.
in one spot. We've been a little bit nomadic due to the construction going on. And then if we know we have, when we had some meetings where we were recognizing large groups of individuals, we would move to the auditorium. And once it's in the library to auditorium is a pretty easy change for folks who are looking for us. When it's been in the cafeteria and down to here, not quite as easy of a change, admittedly. So that is where we plan to be, in the library. I get the point. So I think what I'll ask is that when we make the decision about where a meeting's going to be, that we
Put it on the sign.
yeah, make sure that Brett knows so that Brett can update the website.
Yep.
Yeah, we want people to not be looking for us.
Yeah,
They're coming out for sure.
thank
You got it. Further discussion on that motion. So going back, the motion is to change the time of the meeting to 6:30 for the 23-24 school year from the traditional 7 PM. No further discussion. I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Okay.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? So that passes.
Yep.
So let's start for next month.
Start for August. And we'll be in this room for August, and we'll make sure that gets on the website. No other business for the reorganizational meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn the reorganizational meeting at 7:14 PM. Amanda, a second? Mike,
Mike.
all those in favor? Aye. Anybody abstaining, anybody opposed? All right. You got the time? So I'd like to call the July 11th regular board meeting to order at this time, 7:15. We did do a salute to the flag for our reorganizational meeting, so we will forego doing that a second time in the same 15 minutes. So moving through and working in absence of Mr. Gall, President Gall, unless you'd like to, Amanda, run the meeting, I'm happy to have you come up and join me, or I'm happy to keep working through it? Okay, all right. So we have to approve the routine items. On the agenda, you can see you have the minutes of the regular meeting of June 13th, and you have items 2 and 3, accept and order file the minutes of the Committee on Special Education for the dates listed, and accept and order file the minutes of the Committee on Preschool Education for the dates listed. And those were available to all of you through the links provided. Looking for a motion to approve the routine items. Amanda, thank you. Seconded by Heidi. Thank you very much. Any discussion on those items? No, going for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Passes. Thank you. Moving on to public comments. Anybody from the public this evening that would like to have some time to speak?
For anyone that I haven't met yet, my name is Jane Lewin. And I'm here because I don't want to leave you out of my tour. Our family, the Haven family, who owns Falls Farm and Guardian, Germany, and Firearms, will begin the second part of our journey on Friday in making victim impact statements in front of courts from here to various counties, all the way at the federal level in Albany. So we have to construct our thoughts on what happened to us in this community and hopefully find a way to make a difference with those comments also. I have spent a gross amount of time in Bloomsbury Town Court, some time in Warren County Court. I will be in Washington County Court on Friday. And I have to tell you, as I was told, I attended some town board meetings, I attended a village board meeting, another community event, to share my experience, because sometimes all of us law-abiding citizens go about our day and we don't really see the full picture of what's going on. You get a full picture of what's going on in Kingsbury if you sit in the town board. So my first challenge is, at some point in your career, in the days, jobs, and obligations, if you can take some time out to go to criminal court in Kingsbury, you will get a view of how things are changing in our community. And although we know it, and you are on the front line with children and children that don't have parents that are engaged, I knew it too until I sat in court. And it is a slap in your face when you sit there and you don't necessarily feel safe in the room. You don't know who these people are. You're listening to these crimes and you realize what's really going on around the community and what kids are faced with being part of that environment. When Kingsbury Court used to be down in the village, I used to go years ago when there would be a fest in Falls Farm and Garden, and it was a class of working people who got a DWI, got a traffic ticket, were given some prisoners. Now it is a room full of the walking dead. They can't stay awake, they can't function, they can't talk, they can't dress. I sat in the middle of the room one day, not thinking anything of it. The men came in behind, pretending they looked like lawyers, with their conversation behind me, didn't act like lawyers. And I thought, my gosh, you will figure that against the law the next time you come in this room. So I just want you to know what we're seeing. I do not want to see our community lost to lawlessness and drug abuse. And we're on the come. And so I have a growing number of friends that are teachers in Hudson Falls School. They come from phenomenal families who have been high contributing members of our town, our county, for many years, and have raised great families of their own. They want to know that they're supported. Some don't feel that they are. So I'm asking you to support those people. It may seem like old school, and we have to find the balance. But that old school discipline that keeps these kids that gives them that opportunity that might change whatever it is they're seeing at home. I don't want any of us to get tired. I don't want any of us to get frustrated. I don't want any of us to get overworked. We are all. But we have to fight the fight, especially in this community. I will tell you, so there's this anti-bullying thing down at Park because of what happened to Aiden. A totally unfortunate situation. Grossly unfortunate. I have seen grown men, 200, 300-pound men, truckers, contractors, come in my store, heartbroken at what happened to that kid. And we will all rally when the time comes. So we just need to rally now. I want to inspire you to see what is out there, to support the people that are willing to go the distance ourselves, because great things happen when the right combination of people come together. And when you talk about bullying, I experienced it as a coach in this school and another school as I was trying to teach my kids to deal with it. My son has a degree in mechanical engineering and physics, both from Hudson in a 4-year period. Tim Jr. gets constantly asked, why does he want to stay around here? People in Hudson Falls see the shining stars, so he was serving his class. They see the shining stars of the community, and they say, you need to go. You need to do great things someplace else. So my children who have bought into what my husband is doing and want to continue in that, and given the choice, Tim said to them years ago, this is my dream, Timmy was a dream. This is my dream, it doesn't have to be yours. And both kids said, yes, we're in. They went to college, they came home, they're contributing members of society at Falls Farm and Garden. And my son constantly has to hear, why aren't you someplace else? So we want to put forth these great students. We want to celebrate them. And then unbeknownst to all of us, we start pushing them away. And I finally said to Timmy, why don't you just stay with Sunday? Aren't you glad that I decided to stay in this community? It's the mother guidance that I gave the kid when he was the smallest in his class. And not his 30-person class, his 200-person class. You know, and so after seeing, we had, the first robbery was to adult traffic. From the dust of all of that, we formed the A. Chi Annie. We wanted to do something. We formed the A. Chi Annie Sporting Foundation. We had our first event slated for April 21st. Before we could get out and raise money for kids and celebrate kids, a 15-year-old kid was in our store. A kid that came to our store more prepared than the adults because of the use of the internet. I'm afraid, knowing now that he was a troubled child, that he sat in a spot, he admitted to learning it all on the internet, everything he needed to know. So I'm sure at that moment in time, that mother was probably glad he was quiet, he wasn't doing anything, wasn't disturbing anything. But he came more prepared than the adult males who will do 11 years in federal prison. And this child may be back out on probation. The other concern that I have that I want you to realize when we're talking about the discipline that keeps these kids maybe not going this way, in New York State, they have a thing called Raise the Age. The morning of our second robbery, I kept hearing officers say, raise the age, raise the age. And I said, what is raise the age? 16 and 17-year-olds can commit adult crimes, and they will not be prosecuted as adults anymore. So no one, he's 15, he's not even considered in that. Anyone 16 and 17. Adult males are finding these children and getting them to commit these crimes because the crime will have been committed, it may be successful, the adult doesn't go to jail, and the child doesn't go to jail because of this raised age, they're not held accountable. We have to make sure that these adult criminals, men or women, do not prey on these children. And So it's things that we have to look out for. We held our event on April 21st. It was very successful. The community came out and supported it immensely. If you talk to people the right way, include them the right way, give them value, make them feel important, they come out. They were extremely generous. Our goal is to help youth organizations to assist the ones that are already well established, to teach kids good principles and through rural living. We hope to grow into something new. So the goal is support what's good and what's working and find new things. So, of course, because of our love of the trap shooting program, we have raised enough money that we paid for 40% of all the targets for all the schools that participate at Hudson Falls Fishing Game Club. So if you haven't seen it, your bill that comes to Hudson Falls Fishing Game Club will be 40% less than previous years. And that's because of your community. You guys, just good girls and guys that came out and spent some money. So we hope to do some other things in the future. I hear that air rifle teams in the school are highly successful, very safe, and even bring a whole other group of children that can do that even better than trap. So I love stuff that's highly inclusive. I don't know, that's in the back of my head. I usually don't speak it towards my reality, but I want you to know we're trying to think of different things. We're going to support the 4-H organizations in the area, the schools. So I just wanted to come and share our experience. This is basically another little victim's impact statement in hopes that we can curb what's happening in the community, some way together between the Havens family and the school. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Jane, what was it? What's the name of the group? Annie's?
Ace High Annie.
Ace High Annie.
Sporting Foundation. So we're gonna breathe some life into Annie Oakley again, since we had a calamity Jane. Annie Oakley was a great educator in her marksmanship skills, and Ace High back in the Western front meant highest standards and morals and ethics. So that's how we came up with that.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Okay, I want to make one comment back. I appreciate you coming out and talking about victims' impact. And for certain, I will tell you that I was able to spend some time talking with Tim, and he spoke to me about the impact that what occurred with your business had on you and your family. And I want to say that it was eye-opening for me. So I want to say that out loud here in this meeting. And I just appreciate you coming out and speaking to us about it. Appreciate you talking about supporting kids. And I will tell you that for certain, me sitting here and Mrs. Hogan sitting over there and the people around the table too are looking to help kids understand how they need to be held accountable in life. Help them learn. So it's a learning process through school, but we are, I understand exactly what you're saying, and we are on the same page.
Yes, and I don't want to keep that down again, but thank all of you for your agricultural program. They are really very excited about that.
Yeah.
We think Ms. Hogan is trailblazing, and thank you for that.
Got it.
And anything we can do to help you.
Awesome. Get that in the notes.
Got it. I got it.
Anything is what I heard. I know.
All you gotta do is say FFA to David.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else that wants to speak tonight? No? Okay. For committees, moving on, we'll start with Mr. Canini and Personnel.
Pretty normal, recognition for the summer. Two resignations that were replaced in January. Donna Lake, for 23 years, in January, and Monica Stepner, January again, that they were leaving after 15 years. Other than that,
Yeah, so we have two. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Jessica Hogan. So last month we had a bunch of people here, and I didn't let them leave until we gave a round of applause to a young man we were appointing to a teaching position. And I totally, because Jess has been here for 17 years, and she changed positions, but she's been working in it for a while, and I've worked with her closely for a long time. I failed to recognize her so she could have a big round of applause as she takes over as our high school principal. So I'm going to do that tonight. I didn't know she was going to be here, but now that she's here, I'm going to do it, and it's a much smaller crowd, but I do want to congratulate her at a board meeting and say welcome to that position. Look forward to a long and successful career for you there. So you are very welcome. It's awesome to have you. I know. And I did go up and see her the next morning and say I totally missed it. But congratulations to you. And then if I have the correct note, that's Derek Fox out there in the orange or peach, whatever color that happens to be. I'm not a fashionista. What is it? Salmon. Mike says salmon. But coming on as a new high school social studies teacher, so welcome to you, just so the board knows who's out there, but welcome to both of you. Again, it was a much bigger crowd last month, but hey, take what you can get in July. Yeah, so personnel is by consent, so if there's no questions or discussion, then those all pass. Okay, moving on. Athletics, Mike.
All right, so we did not have an athletics committee meeting this month, but we do have two items that we're going to require voting on. The first is for the boys varsity ice hockey, the Adirondack Rivermen. I'm talking about the merger between the schools for that for the 23-24 school year. And also for the girls varsity ice hockey merger, the Adirondack United. Same situation, 23-24 school year, merging with the schools listed in our agenda there.
Okay, thank you. Any questions about that? No, good to go. So need a motion to approve the varsity boys ice hockey merger as listed in the agenda. Amanda, a second? Mike beat you. Good job, Mike. Any further discussion on that? No. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Passes. Thank you. Second, need a motion to approve the varsity girls ice hockey merger as listed in the agenda. Need a motion? Yes. Gotcha. Megan Borlaine got it. Megan got it. A second. Vince, you're on the board. Any further discussion on that item? No? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Passes. Thank you. Moving on to audit committee. Crystal's not here, so I'm kicking that. Am I kicking that to you, Mr. Palenci? Turn on the mic and you're ready to roll.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Ward. We did not have an audit committee meeting for the month of July. Most likely, we are probably going to have one for August. We do have some things coming down the pike, so we probably will have a quick meeting before the August board meeting. But on this month's report, we'll start off with the budget transfer. We did talk about this a little bit in the audit meeting in June. We need to do a budget transfer, and it's a large budget transfer, and it's for contractual and transportation, and it's in the amount of $300,000. And the reason that we've had to do this is throughout the year with the shortage of drivers that we've had and the increased demands on the transportation department. We've known this is coming for a while here, and we've been trying to work through it, but basically, we had to go to contract transportation for some of the kids that we have on the outskirts, the single pickups, single drop-offs. We worked through trying to get more drivers. We worked through dealing with other school districts to try to tag team with them. We do have some partnerships with other school districts where we are picking up each other's kids. But it got to a point where we also had to go out and do more transportation contracts than we normally do. And the other thing that happened is everybody else was in the same boat doing the same thing. So what occurred was that transportation contract ended up almost doubling in price because there's not a lot of transportation contract carriers around. There's basically one or two that you can go through. So we're doing a transfer, and it's basically just to cover that. We're still in good shape when it comes to the budget, even with the transfer. But we wanted to make sure and just kind of delineate this out for you and explain to you why we're making a transfer, because usually our transfers are not this big, but obviously in this case, we had to make one. And for the future, we are already starting to reroute and working through our routing system to see if we can free up some drivers so that we can pull away from these contracts in the future and lower that cost. But we also, in the budget moving forward, we have hedged some of that cost into the budget for next year, so.
Do we have anything in our fleet that's tiny enough to do the single drop-offs and pickups?
Do we have what?
Like a little minivan or something like that?
Yeah, we actually have a couple minivans, and then we have the green 8 passengers that you'll see. Yeah, we've got, I want to say 5 or 6 of the greens. We've got a couple of the smaller minivans to do. It's.
Just a manpower issue on our end?
It is, and it's, you're going so many different directions. And what I'll do is I'll get you a list of all the places that we actually drop kids off to. You'll be amazed at all the places. We're all over. We go to Granville, we go to several places down in Albany. We are all over the place with our transportation, and foster homeless kids, different things like that. And we've got to go get them and pick them up and bring them home. So it's year by year, it's gotten more and more. And then this year, when you put a shortage on it, we've actually gained some drivers, but that's still growing at a faster rate. So we actually did a traffic flow study here with a group, and we're going to also be looking to bring them in earliest thing coming is the fall, and we're going to break down all these routes and everything to try to condense everything to see what we can do to lessen the number of those routes. So.
These students, I'm trying to remember the policy. If they start the year in Hudson Falls, they move out of district, they still have the right to come to Hudson Falls, we pick them up. That's what we're talking about here. Is that right? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, if they're declared homeless, move out is, so I just want to use the proper term.
Yeah, okay.
If they're declared homeless and they go within 50 miles away, we are responsible for transporting them back. They can choose. That child and their family get to choose. District of residence, district of origin, and we're required to provide transportation either way.
That's where a lot of this additional is coming from.
Yeah, you mentioned district of origin, right?
Yes.
Okay. And here's something that can happen. If a child goes into foster care, and we're the district of origin, they can end up at 5 or 6 different schools. We're still the district of origin until that district of origin changes, which I've seen it a couple times in my whole career. I'm guessing you probably, it's conceivable we could have a kid south of Albany, 2 hours away that we have to transport.
So that means the student starts their career here.
They're here when they become homeless. Doesn't have to start, or enter foster care. Yeah, it doesn't mean they were here kindergarten through. They could come and be here with fixed permanent housing for 2 days, or 1 day, or 1 minute, and then something occurs that makes them homeless or in foster care the next day, and we are considered district of origin. Yeah, it's interesting how it works. And Mike does a lot with the foster care piece when we're talking about district of origin and best interest determinations of children on where they should be going to school. Because sometimes if they're 50 miles away, the best choice is not for them to travel here. Sometimes it is for them to travel here. A lot of factors to take into account there. Other audit items? We've got a few resolutions to pass.
We'll have to do a resolution on that. Next item is ECA balances, deposits and disbursements. You have those in your packet or online. As you look through, it's for the month ended May 2023. Our deposits were $11,900, and our withdrawals were $18,600. A lot of this, if you look at the detail through there, was it's prom season. So taking deposits for prom, paying the bills for prom, a lot of it going across the board. And you had some different fundraisers like the cheesecake fundraiser, very good one. But you can see that basically you'll start to see next month that it really winds down and buttons up there. So the next item is serial bond resolution. At the budget vote, we are purchasing school buses. In order to purchase those, we have to take out a bond. It's a 5-year bond, so it matches up with the state aid. The state aid payments over those 5 years. So in order to do that, there's a resolution. And Kel, is that a roll call or is that just an approval? Okay. And basically what it does is it gives the board, authorizes us to go out and borrow the money to purchase the school buses, is what it does, so. You want to do all the resolutions at the end, Dan?
Yep.
Okay. UPK RFP. So we had to do a RFP for our UPK program. It's something that's relatively new this year. And basically what we had to do is we had to send out the RFP to all of the local child care centers, different people that do different programs in the area, to have them, give them the opportunity that if they wanted to put in a proposal for our UPK program. The RFP date was ended June 30th. We did receive one response on it, but it was a declination. So we did put it out. We did not receive any proposals. We did receive a response, but it was a declination saying we're not interested, basically with it. So, and I think the board has to take action
Yeah.
on the fact that
I'm going to try to spend 1 minute or less on this, but I do want to provide a little detail because it's worth the board knowing. So the State Education Department has declined our half-day pre-K program and said that we need to run a full-day pre-K program, which will cause us to have to not allow every child that wants to come to pre-K come to pre-K. So that's the reason for that waiver. We don't have enough space to open more classrooms. That's why you have to do the RFP. So I've been communicating back and forth with them. Prior to me, Mr. McTagg and Ms. Whitman were. It's been elevated to my level. I'm writing back to them this evening because I received another email today. The state is pushing hard for full-day pre-K. I'm completely in favor of full-day pre-K. Let me build enough space to do it. The state won't allow us to build any more space. We don't have enough room to do full-day pre-K and still service the number of children we service in a normal year. We run 5 sections, 5 a.m., 5 p.m. They are full.
4.
Oh, sorry, 4 sections a.m., 4 sections p.m. They are full. If we go to full-day, conceivably, we have to ask half of our children not to be able to come to a program. So they are saying, well, you haven't reached out to community partners. RFP went out on the 1st. We direct mailed to 19 providers in the 12839 area code. We received 1 response without a proposal, so we received 0 proposals. So what I'm asking the board to do tonight is acknowledge that we received no proposals, because I'm going back and forth with these folks from the State Education Department trying to tell them that it will be harmful for the children and families of our community for us to be forced into a full-day program, because we'll have to deny kids the service we can provide and that people have come accustomed to. So that's why I'm asking to do that. So I have that the board is fully aware of what we've done, and that we received no proposals from community partners, because what they're saying is you can't use space as a limitation unless you beat the bushes for community partners that have space and would run a program that follows all the state rules that need to be followed. Because that's what we get back from providers, that one, we can do stuff, but we can't follow all those rules. We can't do that. So that's longer than a minute, but I wanted to put that out there out loud to folks, because that's could be a serious problem for our community if I'm not able to get these individuals at State Education to understand what it would mean to our community to have to run a full-day program next year for some of those young people and families.
Dan, when you say the state won't allow us to build a room for it, is that them just saying that that's not a waivable?
Yeah. So 2 separate conversations. So one is about facilities planning, and that predates my time here. But my understanding is that the district had talked about, at one time, not using Margaret Murphy for student services anymore and building a wing on to either the intermediate school or the primary school where there's plenty of space and putting a grade level in there, thus expanding, having more space to expand the program. As you know, Margaret Murphy is landlocked. There's no place to build anything. And the district was denied because they didn't have the appropriate number of building aid units. Your enrollment's not going up, so you can't build additional space. I would argue that we're required by state mandate to provide many more services than we were 5 years ago, 1 year ago, 20 years ago. That takes up a lot of space. And all good things for kids, so don't get me wrong. But that didn't make it across the finish line back when you folks were having that discussion before. It is a point of emphasis for me on my advocacy moving forward, because I think that if we were allowed, that our community would support us in expanding our pre-K to full day. But right now, we just don't even have we don't have the space, the footprint to do anything. I think our community would support us in a lot of things that have to do with building, but they would want us to get the New York State building aid back on it and not foot 100% of the bill. Right? So that's kind of where I am. That's two separate conversations, Mike. One is about just the pre-K office of early learning, and one is facilities planning. That's an advocacy thing later on. Right now, this is immediate advocacy with that one office and that one individual who I'm corresponding with to hopefully get that waiver approved. Got it. A lot longer than a minute now. Sorry, folks, but it's all good information. I don't want you to have no surprises for any of you.
What is this, like a quick thought, what is this about to come due, right? When is this supposed to start?
They want us to start September. They're saying we have to be full day September. They're not approving us. So next question probably is, so what happens if we can't do it?
Because we already have all kids enrolled, right?
It's reaching out. It's one of two things: reaching out and telling folks that, hey, guess what, kid can't come, or it becomes a funding issue, because if we're not in the approved program through the state, then the pre-K aid that we receive would be affected.
So they don't understand our point of view that we have to get the.
You got it. Yeah. I'm hopeful that upon the additional information I'm going to provide tonight, with the additional information I provided on June 30th, that we're going to get there. But for planning purposes, moving way into the future, the state wants full day pre-K, full day pre-K. Other questions on that one? I know it took a lot. And the last one is, we've got a truck that's in pieces that there's a resolution to dispose of. I know you wanted to talk.
Stole my thunder there.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
we do.
ahead.
We have a 2005 Chevy Silverado. Obviously, it's very high mileage, and we actually been using it to transport garbage from the buildings to our central location where we have the compactor. And the other day, they attempted to fix it, and it literally is in two pieces now. It popped right in the middle. So basically, what you're doing here is you're saying that it's obsolete and that we can dispose of it. We'll see if we can get some scrap value for it, but we will. We'll go down that path to see if we can do it, but we'll also be looking for a used vehicle moving forward to kind of put that back into service. So, so that's another resolution that we'll have to do.
Yep, so we have, all the resolutions are there. The first one, looking for a motion to approve the treasurer's report as included in the board packets. Need a motion? I heard Amanda and then Vince. Any discussion on treasurer's report? No. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Thank you. Second one, a motion to approve the serial bond for the buses. Need a motion? Got it. Thank you, Heidi. Need a second? Mike, thank you. Any discussion on that item? No. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Moving down. A motion to acknowledge that the UPK RFP issued on June 1st and that closed on June 30th resulted in 0 proposals. Need a motion? Thank you, Megan. Need a second? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Thank you. A motion to approve the budget transfer as discussed by Mr. Paluncci and included in your board packet. I need a motion. Amanda, second? Thank you, Vince. All those in, or any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? And lastly, a motion to approve the disposal of the 2000 Chevy Silverado that has served us well. Amanda, thank you. Need a second? Thanks, Mike. Any discussion on the disposal? No. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Awesome. Moving on, superintendent's report, and my computer timed out, and I will be brief. Got it. Capital project update. So we are moving on time. I did share we have some long lead items, but it isn't going to affect our opening of school. The long lead item is the fire rated glass, and we have a ship date tentatively of September 16th, which everybody knows is after school starts, but it won't affect the entryways that we need for school to open. It's a industry-wide long lead item, so there's no way around it at this point. They're hoping to get a better date as we move along, but I want people to be in the know now rather than later on it being a surprise for folks. But other than that, they're on time, they're moving, and if anybody wants to see the items in this building, so if you want to check out the library, as long as I can get in there, if they haven't locked us out, it's pretty cool to look at. I'm happy to show you that. Always happy to show you the bathrooms. And we can take a look at the auditorium. It's close by. Incredible upgrade for our kids and for our school. It really is. You can see it come into life. Strategic planning, just a reminder that we have our retreat 1 week from today, and our sole item for that night is strategic planning with a consultant, and Kelly sent the reports by email to everybody. And I had shared the administrators did their strategic planning, their first session last week. I forget what day. Last Monday, I think we were doing that, or 2 Mondays ago. The Monday after graduation. Let me say it that way. We were in. So we're moving along. It's some great information, and I look forward to us building the goals based on that feedback we received. Board committee list. You have a hard copy in front of you. I'll make the recommendation, but I'm not on the board, so it's up to you folks. But I did do my intake meeting with Mrs. Borling, like I did with all of y'all when I first started, with folks that were here before me, anybody who came on. And she does have interest in the audit and interest in buildings and grounds from that conversation. So I think she'd be a great addition to those. But again, if there's other people that want to shuffle, now's the time for that conversation. And if you don't, Mrs. Boring, want to be, I think that you may have been tipped off that I was going to say that tonight. Yeah. But if you want to be on something different, happy to have a conversation about it. Anybody? How about the chair? You chair in the buildings and grounds? That's Mrs. Hensel's work. She put that right next to your name.
Put right in there.
We'll help you through it. There's.
Everybody takes care of everybody.
Yeah, we take care of each other. Don't worry about it. I think it's going to be, I think it's a good fit based on our conversation. And if not, we'll do something different. Yeah, so then we have to figure out the times and the days, and you can see the times and days that we normally have are right on that list. And if we need to have a conversation about when those need to be, we can do that now. Or if you want to send information to Kelly. We try to work around the chairperson. That didn't work out so well this year for athletics, just because Mike's employment changed, right? And that happened, and he was gracious enough to allow us to have the meetings on the schedule we had determined previously, and play a little catch up and back and forth with Ryan and with me and with Kelly. We wanted to work for folks. The committees only work as well as they work for the people who are on the committee. So any conversation or thoughts on that? We had athletics fourth Wednesday at 2:30. Yeah. All right, that's fine. Audit and finance Wednesday at 8:30. You can see the times on there. So if they aren't going to work, if you could reach out, that would be helpful. If they are going to work, just reach out either way if you don't mind. And we already talked about the board meeting time. That's what I had for everybody. And you're going to see me again in a week, so God bless you. Yeah, so I don't have anything for executive session this evening. Anybody have any business that we haven't attended to? Good enough. If that's the case, looking for, before we go, superintendent's report, I also am going to be on vacation the next 3 days. So please don't expect a superintendent's report on Friday, or weekly update this Friday. My wife and I are planning to, I guess, go to New Hampshire for a couple of days. So I'm told. That's okay. That's okay. So no other business. Looking for, the time is 7:55. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Amanda, second? Heidi? Any discussion on adjournment? No. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Nobody abstaining.